Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome tonight. I'm in Boston visiting some of my family, and this is my niece, Zoe. Come say hi, Zoe.
Hi.
And where are we? Are we in your bedroom?
Yeah, we are in my bedroom.
And Zoe, do you know what's going to be in 1 month time? What takes place in 1 month from today?
The Narcolepsy Day.
The World Narcolepsy Day? Yeah, that's right. Are we excited?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you know who's with us today? Who else is on the video?
Mary.
Yes. Hi, Mary.
Hello, Julie. Hi, Zoe. So excited to be here. Good to see you both.
And so usually Mary and I would be about a mile from each other in LA, but not tonight. Tonight I'm in Boston, so we're at opposite ends of the country.
Pretty much as far away as you can get, actually, if you think about it. Yeah.
And there's also something that today is, besides 1 month till World Narcolepsy Day. Do you remember?
Happy anniversary, Mary.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Zoe. It's my 12-year wedding anniversary. 12 years. I had to think about that. But yes, so thank you so much, Zoe. And thank you, Julie, for remembering too.
Of course. Very cool. We're very thankful that you were willing to do a broadcast on your anniversary.
Hey, no problem.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. And let's see, do we have any other announcements? Thank you for getting your t-shirts for World Narcolepsy Day. I'm wearing a t-shirt from last year, but the t-shirts from this year are very, very cool. We hope you love them. So please order your t-shirts, and we'll have some other exciting announcements coming up. And I don't think I have anything else. Oh, we have a broadcast on the science of narcolepsy that's going to be on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern with Dr. Thomas Scammell, who is a great narcolepsy specialist from Harvard. And so we're really excited to have him share about some of his research on narcolepsy, but also just give us an update on narcolepsy research in general. So please tune in on Wednesday for that narcolepsy nerd alert on the science, which is pretty good segue because we have a science teacher with us tonight as well, Mary. And so I think, I should mention that please remember to share where you're viewing from. We always love to see where people are tuning in from. And please remember that we love your comments. And if Mary says something that resonates with you, please comment on that. But remember that the comments do stay with the video, and it's public. So you wouldn't want to share anything in the comments that you wouldn't want to share publicly. And last, of course, please remember that we do these videos for education and awareness purposes, but we are not doctors ourselves. So if something about Mary's experience sparks some questions for you about your own medical experience, please bring those questions to your sleep specialist. So I think that's it for the introductions. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce Mary, and then we will have her read her essay. I'm so excited. I feel like this has been a long time in the making of getting Mary to do this broadcast and share her essay. So let's see. Why don't I go ahead and read your bio. Mary Murray is a teacher, a mother, an avid reader, and a lover of travel, living in Los Angeles. She was diagnosed with idiopathic hypersomnia at the age of 36. As a Rising Voices of Narcolepsy advocate, she hopes to help others understand what it's really like to live with this rare disorder. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up your essay so people can read along, Mary.
Perfect.
And make sure that you can still see your essay on your end and everything.
Yes, I am good here. I can see your share, and here is my copy as well. So I think we are good, Julie. Thank you. All right. So first off, I do want to thank you again, Julie, for inviting me here, because I am really excited to share this essay. And I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have at the end. All right. So this is Nap Roulette. My family and I love to play games. One of the first things my husband and I bonded over was board games. We used to go to friends' houses on Friday nights and play together. The joy of learning a new game was something that we quickly began to pass on to others, And we now actually play games with our children at home. We love board games like Settlers of Catan and Carcassonne, and card games like Dominion and Dutch Blitz. But the game that I play most often is a game that I have to play alone, Nap Roulette. I haven't always been into Nap Roulette. In fact, as a child, I never played it. My childhood was spent outside in the dirt, playing tag and climbing trees with my siblings and my cousins. I enjoyed reading and school. As a student, I rarely had difficulty with my studies, but during my junior year of high school, something began to shift. The first time I noticed something was different, I was in social studies class. We were gathered around an old television, the kind that hangs from the corner of the room and honestly looks far too heavy to be positioned there in the first place. As I leaned forward on my desk, I became overwhelmingly sleepy, the kind of sleepy that makes you want to crawl into bed, flip all the lights off, and tune out the entire world. I struggled to keep my eyes open, but fell asleep right there in front of the television, my chin resting on my hands. My head eventually slipped off my hands, and the jarring sensation jolted me awake. I felt frustrated and embarrassed. I had no idea how long I had been asleep, didn't feel remotely refreshed, and just hoped that no one had noticed. I wish I could say that was the only time that I felt overcome by sleep, but quite the opposite was true. I found myself struggling more and more every day. In one particularly memorable moment, I fell asleep while taking a chemistry exam. I had no memory of actually falling asleep, but upon waking, I saw that I had long pencil lines across my paper, almost as if I had just fallen asleep mid-problem and dragged the pencil with me as I laid my head down on the desk. Miraculously, I passed chemistry with an A. I still like to joke that maybe I should have become a chemist since I could sleep during a test and pass the class. In truth, I didn't give a lot of thought to the sleepiness. I just assumed that maybe I wasn't sleeping enough at night and promised myself that I would go to bed earlier. In actuality, I was getting plenty of sleep. I went to bed relatively early, slept in as late as I could, and on weekends, I always made sure to make extra time for a nap or two. In 2001, I graduated from high school and started college at Western Michigan University. The freedom to pick my own schedule and courses was something that I craved, and I was so excited that I could choose not to start my classes until later in the day. I made a promise to myself that I would never sign up for an 8 a.m. class, and I'm happy to say that I kept that promise. I thought if I attended classes later in the day, I would be safe from the ever-present need to sleep. Turns out that wasn't true. Not only could I fall asleep during a 5 p.m. lecture on ecology, but I could also sleep through more exciting activities like films and movie theaters, concerts, and live theater performances. The worst part of all of it was that my grades began to suffer. During my sophomore year of college, I more or less slept through the entire semester. I began skipping classes and could usually be found passed out in my dorm futon, the door to my room wide open for everyone to see. I suppose it looked like maybe I was just out partying all the time and needed to sleep through the day, but that was definitely not the case. I was just tired. When I came home from college, my siblings got angry with me when I insisted that it was my nap time. My sister and I loved to play board games when I came for my visits. Monopoly, Life, Clue, the classics. The image of my sister standing in the kitchen holding the Monopoly game, disappointment stretching across her face when I needed to sleep instead of playing with her, is forever burned into my brain. This was often the reaction that others gave me. I was an adult. I shouldn't need naps. So instead of getting help, I just got better at hiding it. But the naps kept coming. After I got married, my first child was a newborn. Nap Roulette became an officially acknowledged part of everyday life. Nap Roulette is the act of taking a nap and not knowing how long it will be. Will it be short? 20 minutes? 2 hours? Will I wake up refreshed and ready to continue my day? Or will I be even more exhausted and need to keep sleeping? I never know, but I spin the Nap Roulette wheel at least once a day. I never set an alarm because there's no point. If I do set an alarm, I usually fall back asleep anyway. And truthfully, there are no winners in Nap Roulette. On one particularly jarring evening, I fell asleep after dinner while watching television with my husband. When I woke up, I was so confused and suddenly very concerned because all was quiet, the house was dark, and my daughter was nowhere to be found. I shot up out of the recliner and my husband calmly responded that he had put our daughter to bed and it was bedtime for us also. I know many people would probably not be able to sleep if they woke up from a nap right before bed, but my words that night have become a bit of a catchphrase in our house. I smiled and replied, I love it when I wake up from a nap and it's time for bed. As time progressed, life continued to change around me. I had been teaching since 2006, but swapped around grade levels, eventually landing in the middle school science classroom. I moved across the country twice and had a second child. Life kept moving, but was punctuated by my need to spin the Nap Roulette wheel at least once a day, and sometimes much more frequently. I still did not understand what was happening that caused this excessive need to sleep. My husband and I would joke about how I could sleep for 12 hours at night, wake up, eat breakfast, and then take another nap. But in reality, it wasn't a joke. This was my life every single weekend. During the week, when I was working, I would somehow manage my sleepiness during the day by taking short naps when I could, walking around during a meeting, or drinking a zillion cups of coffee. My husband would be the one to get up with the baby and take care of him in the morning so I could get some extra sleep. Our whole lives were run by my need to play Nap Roulette. 21 years after the day I fell asleep in social studies class, I finally got a referral to see a sleep doctor. I was 36 years old and had been living with excessive sleepiness for so long, I was convinced that it was just a part of who I was. Thankfully, my neighbor and good friend, Julie, gave me the tools to be persistent and stand up for myself. It was a tough road to get the referral. My primary care physician knew about my sleepiness, but it never felt like something she took seriously. She ran tests for my thyroid, gave me a depression questionnaire, and at one point suggested it was all because I was a teacher and a mother. I pointed out to her that lots of people are teachers and mothers, and that the sleepiness had started long before either, but she shrugged it off. My interactions with her left me feeling helpless. It made me question if what I was feeling was real. I felt like my whole family was doing things without me, and there was nothing I could do about it. They got to play games together, read books, and just enjoy each other's company. I, on the other hand, seemed to spend all of my time playing Nap Roulette, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. This unwinnable game was taking over my life, and it didn't seem like I would ever find a way to beat it. In the end, it was not my primary care physician that referred me, but another doctor I had to see when my PCP was unavailable. I had gone for an issue relating to a skin rash and left not only with a solution to that, but also a referral to sleep medicine. After a sleep study, an actogram, which is a Fitbit-like device that you wear for 2 weeks to track your sleeping habits, and several meetings with a sleep doctor, I was officially diagnosed with idiopathic hypersomnia with long sleep time. Idiopathic hypersomnia is characterized by excessive daytime sleepiness and the need to sleep for long periods at a time, but never really feeling refreshed. This was me. This was it. I was so relieved. It confirmed that something serious was happening, and it also meant that there were some treatment options. After 21 years, I finally had my answer to why. And just like that, everything got better. Okay, not really, but I like to pretend that that is true. There is no cure for idiopathic hypersomnia, but I now take a combination of daytime stimulants and a nighttime medication. These medications allow me to get an appropriate amount of sleep at night while still feeling like I can function during the day. I still play Nap Roulette, but I don't feel like the game controls my life anymore. I understand that it is a part of my life, and embracing it with a good attitude and, yes, a sense of humor every now and then will get me a lot further than resenting it. My family might not play Nap Roulette, but they're learning the rules of it. I may never win a game of Nap Roulette, but not having to play so frequently has allowed me to add some games into my rotation that I actually can win. I'm currently the Dutch Blitz champion in the house, and I don't see my winning streak coming to an end anytime soon.
Yay, Mary. Thank you so much for reading your essay. This is so moving of an experience to hear you share this, and very, very surreal
I bet. I agree. It is surreal to think about, but thank you.
And just knowing, having known you through not your 21 years of sleepiness, but the last few, how many years 7 years?
7 years, probably, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily.
Okay. I'm just
I think
kidding.
so.
Either I'm teary eyed or I have makeup left from my nap below my eyes here. Who knows?
Either way.
Wow. What a powerful essay. I just love the theme around games. And so folks, if you have questions for Mary, please send them over on the Facebook chat. And I have a few questions for you as well to start.
All right.
Well, first of all, so we also play a lot of games.
It's true. We do. Lots of quiplash.
Quiplash.
Yeah.
You're pretty funny. You're pretty funny. You probably win more than I do at quiplash, that's for sure. And what else? What other games? Oh, Among Us.
Among Us. Very fun. Very fun. Stay away from me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that shows how good people are at lying. I think that's a game of learning how to be a good liar.
It is. It's learning how to be a good liar and pointing out who is what's the word that the kids use? Sus.
Who's sus? Yeah.
So sus. Yeah. Not sus.
So I love the theme around games. And I remember when you first saying, I think over a text message, that you played Nap Roulette.
Yeah, I think so.
Analogy, for not knowing how long it was going to be that you would need to sleep. So you do mention about the medications that have, I love the part of your essay where you said like, it's all better now. No, just kidding. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people have had similar experiences, but like, what has been your path to finding the treatment that you use now?
So after all the help that you actually, it was Julie, my neighbor and my friend, who gave me to kind of speak up for myself, to eventually get that referral. And also once I was actually seeing the sleep doctor, it took a long time still to get some kind of treatment because I guess it's hard to diagnose. I was a strange case. And what actually finally drove it home and got me to the stimulants to start with was I told my doctor the story about how I had fallen asleep in the stroller at Disneyland. And that story is from when Vandy was little and in a stroller. So she was like 3 or 4. And we were at Disneyland with some friends and I just could not cope. And I sat down in her stroller and fell asleep. And it was just one of, I don't know how many examples that I have where I was missing out on all of the good things that my family was doing because I just could not stay awake. But it was that story specifically. It was like the look on his face just changed. And he was like, I think we're going to try this. So that was how it started. And then eventually, in order to get into the nighttime medication, it was during the start of the pandemic, actually, that I started on that. And I had just noticed that the sleepiness was getting worse and worse and worse. Like the stimulants on their own were working well for me in the morning. And then I would take the afternoon dose, but it wasn't doing anything. I was taking it and then going back to sleep for hours at a time, just hours. And I was going to bed early, like 9 p.m. maybe, and then sleeping until 9 a.m. and getting up and having breakfast and my stimulants and then falling back asleep at noon. I mean, it was just awful. It was awful. So we started in with the nighttime medication. And it definitely started making some difference for me.
And how could you start noticing that difference?
I wasn't napping as much. I was having longer amounts of wakefulness between my naps. That was one of the bigger things. I would get to be like, because before, like we said, I would have breakfast. I'd get up, I'd have breakfast, and I would legitimately lay back down for a nap. And it would get to be like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'd be like, I'm not sleepy. I'm not tired yet. So I was going for longer periods of time without needing to take a nap. And I noticed that I stopped having to go to bed quite so early. And I was able to stay up a little bit later as well. So those periods, they just kind of kept stretching and stretching, which is really, I'm so thankful.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting how you just said too, that the doctor, it took that tangible example,
Mhm.
even though you had said the terms like I'm sleepy, I'm tired often, I'm sleeping at night, those general
Mhm.
terms didn't really seem to maybe make him realize the urgency, like when you gave one specific example.
Yes. Yep. And that was such a huge difference for me, for sure. Like I said, I could really see his face sort of like change. Like, I don't know if it was relatable or if he was just like, okay, this is something that's awful, that's nuts. I don't know, but it
Yeah.
was helpful and I'm glad.
Right. Wow. And so as far as being a teacher, so it's so interesting you're a science teacher,
That's right.
and so how have you coped as a teacher pre-diagnosis and post-diagnosis? And I also want to know if your students know that you have idiopathic hypersomnia.
All right. So, yes, they do know that I have idiopathic hypersomnia. I let them know. I have my little RVN card up on the bulletin board. At school, when I was doing Zoom classes, it was up behind me. I always let the students know. And on World Narcolepsy Day, the last 2 years, I've given some materials out about sleep and sleepiness and sleep health, and shared about narcolepsy and whatnot. So I'm glad that I've been able to discuss that stuff with my students. Previous to diagnosis, I was just so good at hiding it. Obviously, I wasn't able to wake up and take a nap because I was going to work. On the weekends, it dead. Like I was breakfast, nap all day. But when I was going to school, I couldn't do that, obviously. So during my off periods, like we call them conference periods out here, but times when I didn't have students in my room, I could turn the lights off, put my head down for a few minutes, fall asleep. I would set myself an alarm to get up. And I just knew that like I had, there was no choice. I couldn't not get up. When I'm teaching, I'm on my feet, 90% of the time, unless it's Zoom school. So walking around, drinking water, I always had my coffee, probably way too much coffee, but those management styles, as long as I could think in my brain, okay, this is the time when I can take my next nap. If I knew when I had that time, then I would be okay. So that was what I would do before. Now, that's sort of still what I do. But I don't have to nap as frequently. I mean, I've only been back to work one day this school year so far, and I didn't need a nap at all when I was there. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And but you did find a space recently, right?
I did, yes. I'm super excited about that. I found a space right next to my room. I have these like amazing store closets, which sounds weird, but they're giant. And on the back, there's a really great counter and just a perfect place where I can like sit up and lean back, because that's my kind of favorite way to nap when I'm at school, if I can, rather than face planting it on the desk. So I have that available to me, and I can call my principal and my assistant principal if it strikes in the middle of class, and they will come cover for me. So that's also really, really good. Yes, that's new this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very thankful, and hopefully that I'd like for it to not happen, but I'm anticipating that will happen.
Yeah, at some point. And how is parenting with idiopathic hypersomnia?
Well, now everybody, and like now, my kids get it. My husband gets it. It was a little bit of a road to get here, for sure, because it can come across as it's kind of jarring, I guess, to see like somebody that you love being like, I really need to go take a nap right now. If you guys want me to be able to do any of these things with you, you want me to play with you, you want me to do the dishes, you want me to cook dinner, like any of those things, I'm like, I need to go take a nap. So at first it was really tough, because I think Aaron didn't really understand. And when you have a child, especially when they're really little, like 2 years old, they want to play all the time. But it's just part of our life now. They know that I have nap time, and they're respectful of that time, which is really nice, I guess. But it can be difficult. I felt like I was missing out on a lot of the good things, especially before diagnosis. Like Aaron, my husband, would wake up in the morning and sit in the living room and get to play with Beckett and read him these books, and was doing coloring with him, and Beckett's working on crawling, and I am just sleeping in the bedroom. And I hated that. I hated that I didn't get to spend that time with the kids, but it's gotten better. And we just kind of all know that okay, this is my nap time now, give me my space, and then I'm going to be up and ready to do the next thing with you all.
Yeah, that's good. We love your family. Your family's amazing. So
Thanks.
glad they're supportive. So we have a question here from Crystal. Hi, Crystal. So Crystal wants to know, how does anyone who doesn't respond well enough to medication to continue working? It even seems difficult to get regular house chores done.
Yeah.
It's a tough question. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, it is a tough question because it can feel like that a lot. Like you just can't get anything done. And I hate that feeling, but that's okay. Like you have to, I mean, as far as like for me, napping is the biggest thing that I can do. Even pre-medication, napping would help recharge me. And I used to think that I was wasting my time when I was napping. And I know I talk about like missing out on all of this stuff, but I started framing it as like an investment in my future self. And that helped me at least feel like, okay, this is important. So then I can do whatever it is that I need to do. And that frame of mind helped me a little bit, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just to say for Crystal too, it's a really exciting time in a way for this community because there are more treatments that are coming out. And there's different mechanisms of actions. And so if, stimulants haven't like worked well for someone, there are new ways that the medications can work and hit different neurotransmitters. And so you might be able to find one that could work better. And there's still new ones that are being approved and in the process of being developed. And so it's not like to say like, oh, I made it all better or something and take away from the reality, but there could be newer treatments that could help more people get some better help from treatment. That's our hope over time.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we have a question we have Janice wants to say hi from Louisiana. Her and her son both have type 1 narcolepsy. So thank you, Janice, for tuning in.
Yes, hello.
And, Emma says, great job. Emma is in Florida. And then we have Katie O'Connell here in Massachusetts, not too far from me. And she wanted to know, what was your PCP's reaction once you finally got a diagnosis?
That's an awesome question. So my PCP was gone when I went in to get this like skin rash thing taken care of. And then I didn't see her again for quite some time because the pandemic hit and I wasn't dealing with her for a while, but it's almost kind of like she ignored it. Like she knows it's there. She mentioned it, when you pull up my medical record, it says like ongoing conditions, and she was reviewing those things. She's like, oh, idiopathic hypersomnia. Well, glad we got that figured out. I'm like, I'm sorry, you didn't get that figured out. But then she just kind of like glossed over it. She didn't ask me about what I was taking for it. She didn't ask me how I was doing. I think, I don't know. I wish that I could read her mind, but I can't because she just didn't even like acknowledge it. It was like, oh, well, glad we got that figured out. And I'm like, well, okay, thank you. But it wasn't you.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And I don't know what to say to that because it's disappointing. It's very disappointing. I like my PCP. I've been with her for a long time. She's been great about everything else. But the sleepiness thing, I mean, previous to finally getting to the sleep clinic, I mean, I have emails back and forth between the two of us that are maybe not even very pleasant because I'm just so frustrated. And she was just not willing to even explore the idea that sleep was the issue. Like it was actually related to sleep.
I kind of love that you just said that though, that I think you were implying that maybe your emails weren't even pleasant because you were frustrated.
I was very frustrated.
Well, like that's like the reality though, but what sleepiness even does to you, and the frustration of not being heard. So I kind of love that you did that because we all, I sometimes I think we have like shame about like sometimes like how we've acted, but it's probably very natural and very human. And you're so eloquent and you're so well spoken. So and you had me as a friend that was like prepping you to like what to say to try to get a sleep study. So
they were. It would be interesting to go back and read some of those because I know that I know I was not being very pleasant because I was so frustrated, but she wasn't either. We were just like locked in this situation. And the number of times she was like, well, you're a teacher and you're a mother, you work, you have kids. I'm like, but you have kids and you're working and you're okay. Like, I don't know. It was very strange. The cycle of things that we went through were wild. I could write a whole other essay on that.
Oh, well, we're looking forward to it, right?
Can't wait. Yeah.
Well, I think I have one more question, but I wonder if Zoe, did you have a question for Mary? Or come here, come ask her. Come on up. Yeah, come on up and ask her. Yeah, Zoe has a very, very important question.
All right. What
Nice
is it,
and loud.
Zoe?
Nice and loud.
What's your favorite gummy?
Oh, that is a really important question. Okay. So my favorite gummy, I really like sour gummies, anything sour. But I do remember that your Aunt Julie one time got us these soccer bit gummies that were sour. And I think they were like the skull shaped ones. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about, Zoe? I think that might be my very favorite ever. I think so.
How about that? Yeah.
Do you approve?
A thumbs up.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. I love
that was
those.
a very important question. Yes.
It is. It is. I currently have a huge bag of sour watermelon gummies in my cabinet. So just
Ooh,
FYI, Julie.
Yum, 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 yum. We've had a lot of gummy candy on this trip, right? Yeah, I've had my fair share of gummies, that's for sure.
That's great.
All right, so I have one more question for you.
Sure.
Idiopathic hypersomnia, you and I talk a lot about this, how, describing narcolepsy can kind of be confusing, but then if someone were to just ask you, like, what is idiopathic hypersomnia? How do you try to explain it easily?
I have two go-to responses. The first one, sorry, my computer keeps shaking. The first one is I will just usually say, well, imagine getting like 12 hours of sleep at night and then waking up and feeling like you haven't slept at all and needing to go back to bed. That's usually kind of how I describe it. And then sometimes I'll go the route of like, well, have you heard of narcolepsy? And then try to explain what narcolepsy is and, narcolepsy type 1 versus type 2 and how idiopathic hypersomnia is a lot like type 2, but that's only if they say, yes, I've heard of narcolepsy. And in that, I feel like it's really important because then I can kind of shoot down some of those stereotypes that come along with the terms. So those are usually my two go-tos.
Well, we love that. I think it's really important for us to think about how we communicate outside of writing essays and the long version of the story, but sometimes the short version of the story is important too.
Yes,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
For sure. And most people have not heard of idiopathic hypersomnia. Lots of people have not. Most people really don't know what narcolepsy is either from my experience. So having to explain it is something that I'm becoming, I think, more succinct at. It goes from being like several sentences down to like
A little
one.
blurb.
Yeah, like a little blurb, but more than, well, I sleep a lot. Because if you say, well, I sleep a lot, people are like, oh, I love to sleep too. I'm like, there's a difference. There's a big difference. But I'm glad you like to sleep. That's good. It's important.
Oh, we have, let's see, a few more comments here. Janice, so glad that you have good support. And Katie says, I'm sorry that she didn't respond better to the acknowledgement of, seeking out and finally receiving your diagnosis. And then people are saying Zoe's really cute, of course.
Of course.
And we have Joanne, one of Mary's work colleagues, and she is an amazing individual while handling her condition very well at work. I am not a member of the narcolepsy community, but I'm here on behalf of my niece who is currently trying to navigate her narcolepsy. So thank you, Joanne.
Yes. Hi. Thank you for tuning in. That means a lot, really.
Yes. And thank you for supporting your niece and for supporting Mary's experience. And we're glad that you're part of our community.
We've had several conversations actually about it together. So that's really lovely.
Oh, well, guys, if we don't have any other questions, let's go ahead and let Mary celebrate her anniversary tonight.
Yay! Yes, going to have some dinner. And that's pretty much it because life of a teacher, but that's okay. That's all right.
Okay, well, everybody stay safe, please, and stay well. And we'll see you in a few weeks. probably sooner than that. We'll see you on Wednesday, hopefully, for the science of narcolepsy. I'll be back in LA, so I won't have this cutie pie with me, but yeah, I'm still pretty cute too, right? Yeah.
Julie's still super cute. You're still cute. And you'll be here. Yay.
I'll be back in LA. Okay, so good night, everybody. And thank you, Mary, for sharing your story and for being such an incredible advocate and ambassador for this community. We're really grateful to have you.
Thank you so much, Julie. I am so glad I got the opportunity to do this. And my dog is inside.
The dogs agree. All
the
right.
dogs agree.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Bye. Bye, Zoe.
Bye.